What is going on, my Bob Nation? I am Bob's Baldwin, and I am here with another video. And in this video, we have another deck profile here. And it's been quite a while since we've done one of these, so I'm excited to get another one in. And as we can see, we've got a Trevenant bat stack. Now, you can't see the bats yet, but this is a Trevenant bat stack on the left that my opponent is playing that I deck profiled recently. And I'm also playing my Lugia Ex Bronze deck that I have also deck profiled recently. So it's nice to see some newer decks here, something that doesn't revolve around Gengar. I really do like Psychic Pokemon, but, you know, we'll get a different Pokemon in there. I'm really excited also to, I want to get a new Ampharos deck going with the Magnezone that's going to come out. Works like similar to the Blastoise. So I'm excited to see how that works. And, I mean, I want to see how that really works with Ampharos and Lugia Ex. And Lugia Ex is just a really great card. I think I'm going to make a couple changes to my deck after playtesting it a little bit. I think I'm going to take out a Lugia, take out a Aegislash, and see what happens from there. I might want to add in a couple extra cards. I think I want to add in a Dialga EX from from Phantom Forces, and I want to add that into my deck and add some Float Stones once that becomes tournament legal again, once it gets reprinted in just a few weeks now, which I'm really excited about. So I think metal decks will start to become more popular as Float Stone comes back, because I've lost a couple times where my opponent just Lysanders up a Bronzong. I have no way to retreat it because all my energy are attached to my other Pokemon, and I have to concede the game because their deck is bigger than mine, and I would just deck out. So it's just, it can be annoying sometimes with situations like that. And I mean, I'm really lucky at myself that I'm able to go first, because if I wasn't able to go first, my opponent got a turn 1 Trevenant, I wouldn't have been able to do definitely not as much as I have just done this turn, and I'm really getting things charged up here. I mean, I've already got 2 Lugias on the field, a Heatran, and a Bronzor, so I can start charging up the Bronzong and see what goes on from there. And this will probably be the end of my turn here, and I'll just have to pass as I'm going first. But I will get a really strong start here, as I'm able to do 60 damage next turn. So we'll see. My opponent's hand isn't really all that great. It doesn't look like he has a Wally, so that's going to be a really big downfall for him. He's going to Ultra Ball. I wonder what's in my hand. Do I have a supporter in my hand? If he was able to get that Trevenant, then that would be a really big deal if I didn't have a supporter or something like that. But we're not going to see him play the Ultra Ball. We're just going to see a Tierno go in, and he's going to draw 3 more cards here. Ooh, nothing that great either. Nothing that he really wanted to see. Just a Crobat for the Bats line, so he really won't even be able to start getting that going either. Unless he searches for a Zubat here. But I don't know. I'm just doing really good on my side now, as I can get that Bronzong going. I do have a couple energy in the discard pile. I'll start charging up either that Heatran or that other Lugia EX on the bench. And I'm just going to look through that again. It looks like I have, I think, 2 energy right now in there. Or is that 3 energy? Looks like I have 3 metal energy in the discard pile. So hopefully that will work out in my favor. And so my opponent will just attach an energy to the Phantom on the bench to get that charged up. And looks like he's just going to pass here. And I'll bench an Aegislash. Attach a metal energy to Heatran. And VS Seeker, a Sycamore, it appears. And I did discard the double colorless energy, so that is kind of a big deal there. which was kind of a big mistake there. I should have attached that to the Heatran, even if I wanted to attach it there. I should have attached a double colorless energy. An Ultra Ball, a Birch, and an Aegislash, and probably going to be looking for that Bronzor there so I can start charging up the Aegislash, and if my Lugia happens to get knocked out, just come in there with the Heatran and do some more damage. And that's really the strength of this deck. It's a fast-hitting deck, and, you know, it takes a couple turns to set up my other attackers, but if you start with Lugia can hit, you know, for 80 damage good on the second turn, even 100, 120 if your opponent is attaching energy to their active too, so it works really good, and it allows the other Pokemon in my deck, the Heatran and the Aegislash, to get charged up, and they can come in and sweep for the game. So we'll see that first knockout happen with that Phantom, and oh, there's a Trevenant, and there goes the double colorless energy too. That's a big deal, and there goes the Dora. The Dora counts as a Sycamore. It's Dora. Dora the Explorer. So we're going to see the Dora get played, and I mean, it's kind of an issue with my opponent. He had to attach the double colorless energy to Trevenant, and that Aegislash is out on the field, so if I come in there, I can just do damage done to Aegislash by that Trevenant there. And we will see a level ball for the Zubat. So that is something for my opponent there. He will be able to grab that. And we'll see a Muscle Band be attached to the Trevenant. So he will be able to do 80 damage to my Lugia Ex. It's still not enough for the knockout. He's going to need, I mean, if he could find a Lysander, but he already played the Dora. So, you know, that's going to be something. He will grab the Wally, though, so if he finds a Phantom, he can Wally into a Trevenant next turn. And really, this deck is really good if it goes turn 1, because, I mean, even if I get item locked from turn 2 on, I mean, I've already got a Lugia charged up with a Muscle Band, and I've already got a couple energy in the discard pile, and I get a Bronzor going, and I just accelerate so fast, and it's difficult for that deck to come back. But if Trevenant gets going turn 1 with a Wally, well, then it becomes an issue. I have a hard time getting out my Bronzors and my Bronzongs and any of my other Pokemon. It usually results in just a few Pokemon on my bench, and I have a difficult time trying to get anything really charged up. And oh, there it goes. There's the Metal Energy. Metal links to the Aegislash. We'll start getting that powered up, and so my opponent knows that the Aegislash is there. I will charge it up and threaten him with it to prevent damage done to it. I really should have started charging that up instead of the Heatran, but I'm already ahead so much that it really doesn't matter. We'll see what my opponent can do here. And I'm going to play the level ball. It looks like I'm just going to use Arrow Ball, which is Lugia's first attack, probably, and get the knockout here. And that is really going to hurt him out. I mean, it took him 2 turns to charge up that Pokemon, and now I took it out in 1. And, you know, that's the power of Arrow Ball. It can do so much damage, especially with heavy hitters. And I think it's good for standard format, really, just because, I mean, there's a lot of decks that use a lot of energy for their Pokemon. Seismitoad Giratina does, not the Seismitoad, but the Giratina, 4 energy, that's 80 damage. Lugia Ex is going to do another 60, so you're hitting 140, attach a DCE, and you're doing 180. And you're just knocking out those Giratinas over and over again, and it just adds up. And then there's other cards, Mega Tyranitar, Primal Groudon. They need 4 energy too, and you can just stack it up and hit for a huge amounts of damage over and over and over again. And it's just a rack. I mean, so my opponent will just pass. He will volley into the Trevenant and attach a double colorless energy to it. So that is something. Although that Zubat is likely to get knocked out here. We'll see what happens. Looks like I'm going to grab another energy from the discard pile and Meta Links it to that Aegislash. And evolve a Bronzor into Bronzong. Meta Links probably again to the Aegislash. If there is an energy in there, which I don't know. Maybe there isn't an energy in the discard pile. That could be something. That is something. And it really is something. We'll attach the Float Stone to the Bronzor, and I'm going to Lysander up the Trevenant and hit it for 100. Wow. So now pretty much anything is going to be able to knock it out. And there goes that energy to the Trevenant. And there goes another Dora. And now the item cards are locked again. So I will have a turn where item cards locked again, cannot play any item cards. And that's really the power of this deck. If you can turn 1 item lock your opponent, you'll likely win because you can get a Trevenant charged up by turn 2, start spreading damage around, not only with the Trevenant but with the bats, weaken everything down so you can hit it pretty good. I mean, by turn 5, you know, the big EXs should have only like 100 HP left, and that's really where the strength of this deck comes from. There goes with a Super Scoop up, and it's a heads, so he will pick up the he's gonna pick up the Trevenant, which really doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe just to stall a little bit, I guess. Maybe that was his last Trevenant. And I don't know where the other bats are. I think he told me that like 2 of his other Zubats were prized, so that was really not as bad for him because I mean that's his entire bats line. That's really what gives the deck strength with the bats line there. So I mean he only has that 1 Zubat, so I mean that's a big issue. And all I'm gonna do is just knock out that Zubat. Really nothing else for me to do at this point. No, nothing to Meta Links, and I'll just sit here and let all this happen. So the Trevenant will evolve onto the Phantom, and the double colorless energy will drop. And we'll see Teammates, which is a really good card for this deck. So my opponent can find out some more cards to get going here. The item lock is on again. But I mean, at this point, I'm so far ahead. I have pretty much everything that I need charged up. And, I mean, besides for the Aegislash, but I have a lot of things here just charged up, and I don't really need to do anything else. And we'll see a Muscle Band hit the Phantom on the bench. And the pass, wow. And that's one of the issues with this deck is a 3 energy cost is really hefty, especially with how Aegislash is so predominantly in the format. I mean, you want to run a Hex Maniac with this deck, but, I mean, then you're skipping out on the item lock, which is huge for the deck. We will see that Psychic Energy hit the Trevenant, so my opponent will be able to get that Lugia Ex down to 20 hit points, but I don't know how he's going to be able to do really much of anything else at this point. Oh, okay, so we do see the Lysander come out into play. That is interesting. And we're going to see Lysander into the Bronzong. Should have gone for the Lugia, probably, just so if I didn't have any energy, I could stall a little bit, spread the damage around, get something going. But instead, he's just going to knock out the Bronzong and get a prize. So that's his first prize taken in the entire game. Looks like my MVP Lugia is just going to get sent right back up and take the knockout here. Can't really see my hand very well, but I wonder if I had energy to attach the Lugia if he happened to Lysander that up instead of the Bronzong. And I just attached that muscle band to the Aegislash, which actually shouldn't have happened with the item lock in effect. But that was something we missed, I guess. Doesn't really matter at this point. But, yeah, I completely missed that. Huh, now I feel bad. I missed the muscle band, dang it. Well, at least it didn't have a big effect on the game. It's not like I attached 2 energy to a Pokemon in a turn or something. Well, I guess I kind of do that a lot with Bronzong, but illegally. So, I mean, obviously this doesn't really showcase the greatness of my opponent's deck here, but it's an alright deck. It's okay. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a tier 1 deck at all, but, I mean, it's situational, a tier 2 or tier 3. So, if there's a lot of decks in your area, like Night March or Seismitoad, that really just die from item lock, then I wouldn't say this is a bad play. So, it really depends on your metagame, but quick hitting decks like mine, they just outrun this deck, even with the item lock for most part. So, that's where the weaknesses of this deck falls in. And I'm just going to attach the double colorless energy to the Lugia Ex for the knockout. And my opponent showing me the 3 Golbats he had in his hand, but there were no more Zubats. And I will just Deep Hurricane for the knockout. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Oh, here's our MVP number 1, Lugia Ex, and MVP number 2 that isn't even centered right, but it's okay. And then you gotta get the Dora, which again isn't centered even right. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I enjoy all the support, and hopefully get some more deck matches coming up. Let me know in the comment section down below what decks you want to see, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I like to upload around 2 videos a week. I'm trying to get to that schedule, but school is busy. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later in the next video.